The new warranty payment system is another step in an evolutionary process designed to improve the service we provide to our dealers. This training kit is about that system. It's about the new warranty invoice, the new technical information code manual, and the new standard repair times manual. This film shows you the system at work, from the write-up desk through the actual repair, the description of the mechanic's findings, to the selection of the operation codes, labor hours, and finally, the building of the technical information code. A companion film, Warranty Payment System Part 2, will explain how to properly prepare the new warranty invoice and will end with a review of how your dealership gets paid for warranty work. This training kit, along with other published reference materials, will give you everything you need to know to put the new system to work for you. The new warranty payment system was designed to meet two important goals. First, to simplify and speed up the processing of dealer warranty invoices. And secondly, to provide American Motors with important information to help us to identify product problems and conditions which can be eliminated. The system relies on a set of computer programs that make the job of the claim analyst easier and more accurate. But to make these programs work, the system needs accurately coded information from your dealership. It is this need for coded information that has led to the development of the two new manuals, the SRT, or Standard Repair Times, and the TIC, or Technical Information Codes. Through these manuals, you can select codes that tell us what was wrong with the vehicle, what caused the problem in the first place, what supplier supplied the part that caused the problem, what you did to correct the problem, and how much time is allowed for the repair. The key document you'll be using for this system is one that you're already familiar with. It's the repair order, the same dealership repair order you've been using for all these years. Just as it was with the previous system, the service advisor begins the work cycle at the write-up desk by filling out the repair order according to the description of the problem as explained by the customer, by verifying the problem, and by advising the mechanic accordingly. The hard copy of the repair order is given to the mechanic, who reviews the instructions on the form to find out what work needs to be done. Remember these three key words: condition, cause, correction. What problems did the mechanic find when he started his repairs? In other words, what was the condition of the vehicle? What caused this condition to occur? And finally, what was done to correct this condition? Let's take a look at what this means in terms of an actual repair. For example, the owner of a 1983 Renault Alliance, equipped with a 4-speed manual transmission, complains that there's a strange noise coming from the front of the car. The service advisor concludes that the noise is heard in all gears and can best be described as grinding. This information is then recorded in the instructions to the mechanic section of the repair order. The mechanic, after consulting the available technical releases and performing some on-the-car checks, determines the problem to be in the transaxle. Following the procedure in the repair manual, he removes and dismantles the transaxle. At this point, he finds a pitted input shaft bearing. He replaces the bearing. The transaxle is reassembled, and after reinstallation on the vehicle, the repair is completed. Let's see how the mechanic records this information on the hard copy of the repair order. Condition: grinding noise heard in all gears. Cause: input shaft bearing pitted. Correction: remove and dismantle transaxle. Replace input shaft bearing. The accurate completion of this information is very important because your service management depends on what you tell them so that they can select the correct codes from the SRT and TIC manuals. If the correct codes are submitted on the warranty invoice, your dealership gets paid faster and without a problem. But if the invoice is not properly coded, It could be adjusted or even denied, and our product improvement efforts may be misdirected. One final note about the role of the mechanic. We also need his help in identifying the name of the supplier who supplied the part that caused the problem to occur. If we have this information, we can act quicker and more effectively to resolve any problems we may be having with a particular supplier. In our example, the input shaft bearing was the problem part. The mechanic should inspect the bearing to identify the supplier and should indicate the name of the supplier as well as the transmission code number on the repair order. If there is no identification on the part, the mechanic should indicate that the supplier of the part that caused the problem is unknown. He then returns the defective part to the parts department. With these comments properly recorded, the mechanic can return the hard copy of the repair order to service management for completing the labor information and technical information codes. Depending on the size of your dealership, this person could be the service advisor, dispatcher, or service manager. For our example, let's assume that your dealership has a dispatcher. Before we get to the role of this dispatcher, however, let's backtrack a little to see how the parts department entered the parts information on the repair order. When the service advisor gives the hard copy of the repair order to the dispatcher for dispatching to the mechanic, he forwards the remaining copies to the parts department. If new parts are needed for the repair, the parts clerk records the part number, description, quantity, and dealer net price on the repair order. This is the same way that parts information was handled under the old system. Now let's return to the job of the dispatcher, who has now received the hard copy of the repair order back from the mechanic and the other copies of the repair order from the parts department. The role of the dispatcher is to review the mechanic's comments covering the work that was done and check to see that the job was clocked on and off. He then fills in the operation numbers and allowable labor hours and adds the technical information code. Except for the technical information code, which replaces the cost code, condition code, the job of the dispatcher is the same as it was under the old system. The operation numbers and allowable labor hours are found in the new Standard Repair Times, or SRT manual. Actually, there are two manuals. One covers mechanical repairs, the other covers body. Standard repair times for all AMC, Jeep, and Renault models covering all model years are found in these two manuals. To understand how to use both the SRT manual as well as the Technical Information Code manual, you must first understand the coding system we're using for major assemblies and subassemblies. These codes are found in the front section of the TIC manual. The major assemblies are organized into 9 groups. Groups 1 through 3 cover engine, transmission, and mechanical units. Group 4 is body shell. Groups 5 through 7 cover body mechanisms, accessories, and trim. Group 8 is electrical, and Group 9 is paint and anti-corrosion. Within each of these groups are a number of subassemblies, such as a carburetor or clutch. Each of these subassemblies is identified first by the group code number and then by a 1- or 2-letter alphabetical code. We'll tell you in a moment where to find these alphabetical codes. Let's take a close look at how these manuals should be used. To locate the standard repair time, start by looking at the exploded views of the major vehicle components. Identify the component you need information about. Now let's go back to our example. We're looking for the drawing that shows internal repairs to a manual transmission. Jot down the code 2C. This code indicates that the transmission is found in Group 2, and the internal components are classified as Subassembly C. Another way to find this code is by using the locator charts, which are found in the front portion of the manual. These locator charts include a drawing or symbol for each major component, along with a description of the component, the group number, and the subassembly letter. The charts are arranged in numerical and alphabetical order by group number and subassembly letter and follow the same order of the operations as they appear throughout the manual. Manual transmission, internal parts, is the item we're looking for. The group number is 2. The subassembly letter is C. That's the same code we selected from exploded views of the components. Now let's find the operation numbers and labor hours for our repair. The vehicle in our example is an Alliance. Find the tab in your SRT manual that is marked Alliance. Turn to this section. You'll find that the section is organized by group number and subassembly letters. At the beginning of the section are a number of miscellaneous operations that cover such things as maintenance, lubrication, road test, and so on. These operations have been assigned a special group code, Code 0. Now look for the group number and letter that cover our example. Remember, we're looking for Code 2C, Manual Transmission, Internal Parts. There are 4 operations. Read each operation carefully and pick the one that best describes what was done. The first one listed is the one we want, operation number 2018. Complete operation, bearings, seal, R&R primary shaft, replace. Includes remove and replace transmission, check controls and fluids. Replace 1 or 2 bearings and clutch shaft seal if necessary. The allowable labor time is 4.3 hours. Notice the little square block that appears just to the left of this description? According to the legend of abbreviations and symbols in the front of the book, this block means that a road test is required. You'll find this road test listed under the Road Test Operations, 0C, on the first page of the Alliance section. If the square is black, a simple road test is needed. If the square is blank, an extended road test is needed. Take note that the operation number for a simple road test is 0129, and you're allowed labor time of 0.3 hours. Now let's enter the operation numbers and labor hours on the repair order. The operation numbers are 2018 for the repair and 0129 for the road test. Next, let's enter the labor hours next to the operation numbers. 4.3 hours for the repair and 0.3 hours for the road test. Occasionally, you may perform a repair or adjustment that may not be listed in your SRT manual. For these operations, you will have to assign a number. First, select the group number that would include the repaired item. Next, complete the code by adding the numbers 999. For example, an engine repair not listed would be correctly coded as 1999. To complete the labor section of your repair order, enter straight time. That completes our look at the SRT manual. Now let's turn our attention to the TIC manual. The purpose of the TIC manual is to enable you to select the correct technical information code. The technical information code is actually 2 codes in one. The first 4 numbers tell us what was wrong with the vehicle. We call this the incident part of the code. The next 3 numbers tell us which of our suppliers supplied us with the part that caused the problem to occur, and who we should contact if the problem starts to show up in a number of vehicles. To locate the correct technical information code, first turn to the Contents page of the manual. Here you'll find a chart showing the 9 major groups, along with a listing of the subassemblies found in each group. You'll also find the page number where the subassemblies are covered in the manual. For our example, we'll look under Group 2, Transmission. Under Transmission, you find Manual Gearbox. Note that manual gearbox information is found on pages 14, 15, and 16. Turning to these pages, you'll find a number of general headings that cover various kinds of problems, such as oil leaks, noise or material failure, and gear shifting faults. Under each of these general headings, you'll find several problem descriptions. The number opposite the description that best fits the problem is the incident, or first portion of the technical information code. Following the instructions in the beginning of the manual, if this incident number is followed by 3 small stars, the supplier of the part must also be identified. If there are no small stars, supplier information is not needed. Now, let's return to our example. On page 15 of the TIC, under the heading Noise Material Failure, take a look at the list of incidents to find the one that best fits the problem you repaired. The third item listed is the one we want. Primary shaft input bearing, noisy, seized. Opposite this description is the incident code, 2-121. Next to this are 3 stars, indicating that the supplier's identity is required. Look below the listing of incidents to find the supplier codes. You'll find 2 columns, one for Renault suppliers, the other for AMC and Jeep suppliers. Under the Renault column, there are 6 suppliers listed, but only 2 are listed for Alliance models, SNR and Timken. Note the code numbers 531 for SNR and 588 for Timken. Now look at the hard copy of the repair order and read the mechanic's comments. Remember, you're counting on him to tell you which of these 2 suppliers supplied the bearing for the problem transmission. If the supplier was SNR, you would select code 531. If the supplier was Timken, you would use code 588. In our example, the supplier was Timken. Therefore, the incident portion of the technical information code is number 2-121. The supplier code is 588. The dispatcher should enter 2-121-588 on the repair order. To help you to use the new TIC manual, there are a number of small illustrations of the subassemblies as they are presented throughout the book. These illustrations are the same as those used for the locator charts in the SRT manual. In some sections of the TIC, there are additional drawings that will assist you in identifying the specific component in question and the supplier's mark on that component. If the problem component has no supplier's mark and one is required, you should use the code 999 as the supplier's code. Also use code 999 if the supplier code is not listed in the TIC manual. Remember, 999 is only used for the supplier portion of the technical information code. It cannot be used for the incident portion of the code. If there is no incident code that accurately describes the problem you found, you can construct a code. First, select the code for the correct major component group, 1 through 9. Next, add the 2 digits that identify the correct subassembly. Finally, add a 0 to indicate that the specific problem is not listed. The 531 in our example here is, of course, the supplier code. If in our example the primary shaft bearing was cracked, you would use technical information code 2-120-531. The 2 indicates Group 2, transmission. The next 2 numbers indicate that the affected subassembly was the input shaft bearing. The next number, 0, indicates that the specific problem is not listed. The final 3 numbers, 531, are the supplier's code. You should now be ready to prepare your repair orders with the proper codes. In this film, we've shown you how the new warranty payment system works, from its beginning at the write-up desk, through the repair process, and ending with the selection of the operation code, labor hours, and technical information code. We reviewed the use of the new SRT and TIC manuals and explained how you can construct a proper code even if one's not listed in the manual. If you provide all of the information needed to process your invoice, and this information is clearly written, or preferably typed for greater legibility, we can process your invoice more quickly, and that means faster credits for you. Please remember, if we can't read the invoice, or if the information is incorrect, we cannot process it for payment. If you give us a correct technical information code, we can respond quicker to improve our product quality. And with today's high technology vehicles, we need very specific feedback. The new warranty payment system, a plus for you and a plus for American Motors. Study this film and the enclosed materials carefully, and with a little bit of practice, the benefits of the system will soon come your way.